All right, everybody, welcome to the Our Healing Voices podcast and YouTube channel. I'm Aaron Lehman and just excited to be here today. Excited to dive in with Carolyn Contreras here in a little bit. But those of you who are brand new to the podcast or YouTube channel, I launched this back in 2020. I'd been a massage therapist, been sharing essential oils with people, been into yoga. Yeah, I guess I got a yoga teaching license, whatever. Like, been into all these like natural wellness things, um, and just have met so many really cool humans that I'm like, whoa! Like, I want to learn more about what other people are finding, how other people are finding their way through the day-to-day stuff, through the world stuff, and how we're all like evolving and growing together. And so for me, this podcast, most of them have been interviews. Those if you're brand new, most of the podcast has been interviews because I was raised by two counselors, so that surely influences me a little bit. So I just have this like curious mind where I'm like, what's I go to a coffee shop and I mean, it's shocking that I've yet to interview people at the coffee shop on site. Uh, but anyway, I continue to find inspiration from the people around me. And to me, that's one of the most grounding, healing things is learning from other people as to, body, mind, spirit, wellness strategies, ideas. That just really gives me a lot of hope and it helps me stay centered, to be for real. And so that's part of the reason I love to interview and dive in. I also think that, I was raised by counselors. So I was told since I was very little that my voice is an important one at the table. Like I was instructed in that and shown that on a daily basis. And I know not all of us received that or heard that growing up. And so that's another reason this podcast feels really important to me is just to remind all of us that our voice is really in my dreamiest world that I envision, all of our voices are welcome at the table, and we find a way to put aside the differences, hear each other, and ultimately, with a goal of peace and kindness and justice for everybody, we move forward in a really beautiful way. So here's to that. Our Healing Voices is about all of us knowing that our voices are important, that it's important for us to find safe spaces to share our voices, and then also, how can we learn? How can we stay curious? How can we see what somebody else might have? Like the wisdom that I mean, it's wild, right? I'm watching a 1 year old, my new son. I'm watching him grow, and the wisdom that is coming from this 1 year old, right? And then when I look at Carolyn and I'm like, okay, wow, years of experiences, of moments, of beauty, of turmoil, of everything, right? And it's like, and just filled with wisdom. So having that awareness and that humility to just be like, let's dive in. So on that note, Carolyn Contreras, well, for me, has been on my wavelength here for the last decade ish, more so through the social media realms, because my mom and Carolyn go back to, years in the classroom, years back in Arizona, where they shared space together and loved on kids together. And so, yeah, and then late, like, you've always had a beautiful presence online, but it's been real, here as of late, as I've been thinking about getting the podcast going again, I've been seeing your stuff even more so, and it was just like, oh my goodness, I got to dive in. I need to hear more about you. So I guess that, to start, well, I also want to say, just read this book this morning, um, Stanley, Snappy and Sage. So I'm sure we're going to dive into this at some point. This is one of Carolyn's books. Super beautiful, super powerful. And I'm really excited to
Thank you.
explore this a little bit today, and you could kind of dive us in on that as well. But Carolyn, how, like, if you can identify a few pivotal moments that have led you to here, right? To here, to doing
Uh-huh.
what you're doing, right? As an emotional intelligence coach, an author, an educator. You're doing some one-on-ones with folks. You're helping different communities and schools think about ways to show up for kids. So yeah, let's start there.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Hmm.
And I'm already choking up just the mentioning of your mom. I'm already holding back. So thank you so much and providing the space for me and everyone else. Um, what got me into this part, your mom. Your mom started it way back when I was teaching eighth grade and I met your mom, and she was so calming and I felt safe around her. Now, I don't think I necessarily knew those terms then, but I knew that if there's one person I could trust, it was Deb. And she really mentored me. I decided I wanted to be an intervention specialist. I was a teacher teaching eighth grade. And our students, when that 3 o'clock bell would ring, they wouldn't go home. They stayed and they hung out and they talked. And I thought that was so weird because when I was in school, I could not wait until that bell rang to get out of school. Our kids stayed. And I mean, there were nights when we were staying until 6 o'clock at night with them, safe with us. And me, she would come in and do lessons. And oh boy, I loved her lessons and I loved how she worked with kids. And she was so calm. And again, we didn't know what we know now, but your mom did. And so she really mentored me and she helped me. I went back to school to get my master's degree. I had tried to go back years before, and a master's degree, nothing interests me. I could have done the guidance counselor route, but I was a single mom. My daughter was 5 when I first started teaching. And so it didn't speak to me. So then years later, there's a degree that came up and it was an intervention specialist. I'm sorry, education intervention. And it was working with at risk. That was what the master's program was about. Well, that spoke to me finally. I'm like, this is me. Did my master's degree, and your mom helped mentor me. And then I was able to get a job as an intervention specialist. So I wrote my master's degree on positive behavior support because that was the thing during that time, positive behavior support. And I loved it. The research shows that positive behavior support had its benefits, but there was something that was always missing. But I spent the next year making the most elaborate behavior plans. I mean, I was my most favorite one was we were trying everything with a student. Nothing was working with his behavior. He was a first grader. He loved football, so I made this football behavior chart where I laminated it, velcroed, and he would move the guy 10 yards for every positive behavior he had until he scored a touchdown. And when he scored a touchdown, he got a reward. It worked for a week, right? That's it. So,
Hmm.
I knew we were missing something. So I continued in my career and was, loving working with kids. And then I learned about trauma.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, trauma is the answer. This is the answer. I started reading all the books, right? The Body Keeps a Score. The dog that was raised as the child that was raised as a dog. That one hit home. And suddenly I could see everything, right? I was like, trauma, trauma. Okay, we have to build relationships and offer safe places. And that worked better, right? We were seeing better behaviors. We were making connections with kids and relationships. But again, it wasn't changing behavior like I thought it would.
Hmm.
And so then I have experienced my own dysregulation And I realized that I've spent I'm 51, I've probably 51 years dysregulated.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started learning about the nervous system, I went, oh, and then I learned emotional intelligence. I wrote some books on emotional intelligence. I wrote a huge handbook, thought that was the key. And then I learned about the nervous system, and this is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it's at. And I feel confident saying that this is where we start to heal, is when we feel safe. And that's due related to the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess a combination of professionally and personally has led me here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my biggest teacher, honestly, has been my daughter. My daughter has been my biggest teacher. Um, I was obsessed with my daughter when she was
Yeah.
born,
Yeah.
loved her more than anything in this world. But looking back, I was a very dysregulated mom. And now everything, looking back, and every one of her behaviors was a reaction to my dysregulated self. And it's frightening and eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
And a few years ago, she started on her own healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I still thought I was the parent, you're the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, you need to work on it. You need to, heal.
Mm-hmm.
So one day she told me, I don't know how much, and we're very close, very, very, very close.
Yeah. Yeah.
She said, I don't know how much further I can go with this relationship if you don't get some help. And I got to
Real.
admit, I was a bit disrespected.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But the first time in my life, I decided I'm not going to be defensive. I'm going to listen to her. She's done the work
Mm-hmm.
of her. She must be seeing something I'm not. Called and made a therapy appointment. And the lady, we were talking, and I joke because she wanted to see me, more, twice a week. And I was like, oh, I am really messed up. I am really messed up. So my first 3 sessions were $65, right? And I'm like, this is great. I can afford that. My mental
Yeah.
health, the budget, my relationship with my daughter. So then on our 4th visit, it was $365. And I was like, wait, what? And I got to be honest with you, Aaron. I've tried talk therapy throughout my life.
Yeah.
And it's hard finding one that you connect with. It's hard finding a therapist you connect with. And this is what I've run into, where I've run into people going, oh, that's good. I've never tried that before. I'm going to use that with my kid, kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is great, right? Sharing is wonderful.
Yeah.
Or I found then it turned into their therapy session.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where our
Got
roles
swept.
somehow switched during the
Yeah.
session. Yes.
Yeah. Real.
So I decided I can't justify this amount of money with what I'm getting from it.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I was on 3 different medicines too with this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I just don't want to take this. I'm not against medicine. I am not against medicine at all.
Yeah.
But I just felt like I didn't want to give the medicine a chance. The more, I liked my antidepressant, my anti-anxiety, but I didn't want the trazodone for sleep. I didn't want the gabapentin for the anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take it into my own hands and see where it leads me. So I dove deep, and I can honestly tell you, I feel better than ever. I feel better than I've ever felt in my entire life because of the nervous system education.
Keep going. So keep going on that. So so nervous system education was it sounds like light bulbs just were
It just all
going
made
off.
sense.
Cell tension
Right.
was, decreasing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know for sure. I read The Body Keeps a Score years ago, and I knew that trauma lived in our bodies, but I still didn't get it, right? Until I started. I think what really, when I learned about the 3 nervous system states, so we're either calm, like you and I are calm, we're co-regulating together, we're feeling good. Even though I'm nervous right now, I'm borrowing your calm.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
presence.
Yeah.
So we have that state, and that's where we want to be in. right? That's where
Mhm.
we are happy. That's where we're joyful. That's where we're grateful. That's where we're um, problem solve. We can problem solve. We
Mm.
can not take things personally.
Yeah.
We're creative. Then I learned about the other two states, fight, flight, which I had been mentioning with our amygdala and our prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
And I taught kids about this and they understood it.
Yeah.
They understood it. When I taught them, and I used two characters, right? The crab represents the amygdala,
Mhm.
the turtle represents our prefrontal cortex. So they got it. And they even come to me, oh, Miss Contreras, Snappy snapping the crab,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I got that. But then diving deeper, it's like what our body does. And I think that's where we get it wrong. We're so focused on our brains and our positive thoughts and our negative thinking and our affirmations.
Mhm.
None of that lands if your body doesn't feel safe.
Mm.
So we have to start with the body first.
Mm.
So then I learned about fight flight and what that means to the body. And that's, I the phone calls in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
from when my daughter was a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah.
And me, she'll if she calls at a weird hour and I'm like, hello, are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's like, Mom, really? And I'm like, I'm still operating.
Yeah.
When I see a phone call at a weird hour that I'm not expecting, my body goes into that fight flight. I immediately go into that survival.
Mhm.
And I realized I was spending the most majority of my life in that fight flight state,
Yeah.
that hypervigilance, that
Yeah.
short of breath,
Mhm.
that shakiness, the uneasy feeling. And then the freeze state, that's that dorsal vagal shutdown. That's where when that fight flight isn't working anymore and you feel helpless,
Yeah.
your body will protect you,
Yeah.
right, by shutting off systems. And then now you're in that shutdown, that freeze state,
Okay.
which can look like it's not automatically depression,
Yeah.
but that's what it, can look like.
Can lead to.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that made all the sense to me. It just something clicked for me. And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my gosh, why don't we know this?
Yeah.
Why aren't we taught this in school? So now I can work with it. And now the shame is gone, the guilt is gone.
Yeah.
I understand that I've learned these like people pleasing traits. That's not my personality.
Yeah.
That's a survival response.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I'm going in so many
That's
different
real.
directions.
No, that's right. I mean, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
like,
I'm loving it. I'm
you
loving
know,
it. Keep no, keep rocking. You're doing it's so good.
perfectionism.
Yeah.
Perfectionism is
Yeah.
that's a survival
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
trait. That's
Yeah.
not your personality. That is a
Yeah.
survival. Somewhere along the line, you learned that you learn to stay safe.
Hmm.
And that's what I keep going back to is that safety. Do you feel safe? Because when we feel safe, that's when we can heal. That's when we can have those conversations. That's when we can understand ourselves.
Hmm.
But if we are not in that state, that healing's not going to happen
Yeah.
to the level we want it. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say it can't, but
Yeah.
to the level we want.
Yeah.
So
So when our body feel like is aware that we're in a safe place, whether it's with somebody, whether it's by ourselves somewhere, whether it's right with a professional supporting us, but there's a safety, almost a cocoon of safety, right? Where it's like, okay, I know this is I'm good here. That's
yes,
when that's when the true healing can happen. That's where
yes,
we can go in and right, like like you were working on the trauma, like pay attention, like dive into a trauma, right, in that safe container. Then we can kind of work with unraveling or relearning or releasing or
right.
right or how yeah is that what I'm hearing?
So, and then absolutely,
Uh-huh.
absolutely. And this is where I don't want to discount any type of therapy.
Yeah.
But if you are just going to talk therapy,
Yeah.
I don't I personally don't believe you're going to heal like you would if you're just doing talk therapy.
Okay.
Because when I work with people, I tell them I don't need to know anything about your trauma.
Okay.
You don't have to tell me anything.
Yeah.
I don't need to know that. And I'm not I'm a former teacher. I'm not a clinician.
Yeah.
You don't have to share your trauma with me.
Hmm.
I'm going to help you just by learning your own nervous system states. But if you're only going to talk therapy and you're getting amped up and you're reliving and reliving and reliving, all you're doing is ingraining those memories even more.
Mm-hmm.
We have those neural pathways in our brain.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm coming to you, Aaron, and you're my therapist, and every week I'm talking about more trauma,
Yeah, yeah,
all I'm doing is ingraining those memories. I'm ingraining how to feel.
yeah,
I'm ingraining that fight, flight, or that freeze.
yeah.
So if your talk therapy isn't helping you with your body
Mm-hmm.
and paying attention to your body and helping your body feel safe and move that trauma that's stored in your body,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
don't think it's going to be as successful. I'm not saying you
Mm-hmm.
can't achieve success.
Yeah,
I'm just saying this component, you got to make sure whoever you're working with is including the body.
yeah, 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 yeah. So say more on that for me, because as I'm here, like I'm like, okay, so um, right, my mom transitions from the earth 3 years ago. My reaction is, no, this is not okay, right? And I kind of, and I, it was like an interesting, there was a shutdown.
Yeah,
There's a shutdown
yes,
because I mean that she was like let's be real,
absolutely.
she was my rock, right?
Yes,
My holy teacher. I don't know,
yes,
right, or whatever. Like had her on a pedestal. Let's be honest. So I went into a shutdown. So physically, right, the energy was lacking
yes,
to to create in the same ways I had been.
yep,
Right, I had way more energy when she was here, is what it felt like. Right, I had way more actual, energy to get up and live the day. She
yes,
was right. She was in a lot of ways was like my biggest cheerleader, right?
absolutely.
And so when the biggest cheerleader is no longer there physically, and they're in her body, right? You so anyway, I'm just giving this as an example to hear you. So froze a little bit. So as I've been in a little bit of a way, like coming into a more of an acceptance place
Uh-huh.
with mom's not being here in her body, like 3 years later, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, it's real. Like it's real. Like I'm not in denial, right? I'm not in the
Right,
denial
right,
lands of like, no, she's
right.
coming back. She's coming back tomorrow. I'm gonna
Yes,
say, so anyway, and now it just feels like I just know she's hanging out. Whatever that means, right? I
absolutely.
mean, I know she's hanging out as
Right.
this infinite being, and I can hang out with her in my dreams, and so if you don't mind, like take me through a little bit
Yeah.
on like just in hearing that little. So how, because I don't know. Let's be honest. I cannabis cannabis was a a player, a
Yeah.
supportive player.
Absolutely.
To be honest, a
Yes.
supportive player. I would say it's been a
Yes.
supportive player for me the last few years to help me explore
Yes.
and 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 uh, and connect, explore and connect. To be real, to explore and connect with the beyond is how I would just say it. Explore and connect with the beyond. And so,
Yes.
right, I've utilized some different things. I did
Uh-huh.
yoga for like for a few months, like some restorative yoga, and was diving into that. Have weekly chats with my siblings and my dad. We do a little share time session. Anyway, right, so maybe this will be helpful for listeners to hear kind of an
Yes.
example. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me, so as you hear that, what's your take on that?
So my take
And how does
is
that fit
absolutely.
into that? Yeah.
You did exactly what you should be doing.
Hmm.
You're a human being who just lost the greatest gift of your life.
Yeah.
Well, Graham now and Sarah, but
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
your mom.
Yeah, yeah,
Why, why wouldn't you go into shutdown?
yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
That's a normal
Okay.
human response. This
Yeah.
is we are humans having this human experience.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is, okay, don't feel. We got to be productive.
Yeah.
Why am I feeling this? Why am I 3 years later and I'm still
Yeah.
trying to get up every day?
Right.
That's a normal human response.
Yeah.
That was your body saying, I got to shut down because this is overwhelming. I
Yeah.
can't, I have got to shut off some systems to keep me alive.
Okay.
Your body did exactly what it should have done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the unfortunate thing is, right, we have to work.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
can't
Totally.
stay in bed all
Totally.
day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But instead of trying to get that feeling to go away, I encourage people, feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Feel it. And I'll tell you, I did everything wrong with my daughter. When my daughter would, come home from school sad, I'd be like, let's go shopping. Let's go shopping.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go spike that good feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
why we are so scared to feel,
Yeah.
and so that was such a normal, absolute normal reaction
Yeah.
to your mom's passing that
Yeah.
kept you. Had you not taken that time,
Yeah.
who knows what you would have turned to?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Who knows what you would have become?
Right.
Who knows what other issues would have popped up if you didn't take that time to shut down?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I just, it's information, right? It's your body
Mm-hmm.
telling you. Our bodies are our guides.
Mm-hmm.
When we start listening to them, oh no, I need to be productive today, instead of, why not? My body is telling me I need to shut down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we can come back better than ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like,
When we hold space for that, the up, the
yes,
down, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
No, if you didn't shut down and you
Mm-hmm.
kept going as life is, I can't guarantee, but you wouldn't be where you're at today. You
Yeah.
wouldn't be, and what measures healing
Right.
is for everybody else,
Totally. Totally.
and so I think it's just, I want us to start listening to our bodies as information.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we have a slippery slope where that could have led into deep, dark depression? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think
Totally.
that's what we fear. Fear causes us to do so many things when we react out of fear. Why not say, you know what? I'm going to honor my grieving my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I? I'm going to take the time. I'm going to listen to what my body needs. And there's going to be
Mm-hmm.
some days where just getting up is huge, and that's okay.
Totally. Yeah.
And there's going to be some other days that I might feel good
Mm-hmm.
and want to do more. But I think what happens is we get where maybe one day you felt good and then the next day you were back to not feeling good. And you're like, oh, see, I'm not healing.
Yeah.
I haven't made any progress.
Yeah.
No.
Or I'd see
It's,
my siblings like
yes,
seemingly way more back in the game, and I'm like
exactly.
comparing and
The
being like, oh
comparison.
geez, what's taking me so long over here
Exactly.
to snap back into it, or like,
And it's
you know
biology. It is
right.
biology. This is why
Yeah.
it's so crazy. It's like we compare ourselves, right? Well, this
Yeah.
person got over this soon. And we don't know everybody's story and what they're dealing with,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and again, it's not linear. So it's like I think we get mad at ourselves. Like the other day I blew up at my partner. I
Yeah.
blew up, I said some awful things.
Yeah.
I could have stayed in that state of guilt. I
Yeah.
could have stayed in that state of shame,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to remind myself, hey, I'm doing a lot better than I used to. I
Yeah.
did have a relapse,
Yeah.
but I can acknowledge that. I can see it. And I knew I didn't feel safe in that moment. That
Yeah.
was my reaction.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put some things in place next time. If I don't feel safe about something, I'm a fight and a flight. I like to take off
Yeah. Yeah.
and escape.
Yeah.
But that's also, why is that bad? I know my daughter and I used to get in arguments, and when one of us would want to leave, we'd be like, oh, so you're just going to walk away?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's walk away and
Yeah.
regulate
Yeah.
and come back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what your body did, what you're doing is normal. And what we don't know is when you're in that freeze state,
Mm-hmm.
I think what we try and do is we just have coping tools, right? We've learned all these coping tools. Your mom used to say that her toolbox, right? Our
Yeah.
toolbox,
Totally.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
we had all these things in our toolbox. What we didn't know is that certain ones work better for certain nervous system states.
Yeah.
So when you're in freeze, if I tell you, come on, Aaron, just get up and dance. You
Right.
like to dance, right?
Yeah,
Get
I
up
do.
and dance.
Yeah.
That feels overwhelming. That feels too overwhelming. So you know what I would start with? Wiggle your toes, wiggle
Mm-hmm.
your feet and toes when you're in bed.
Yeah.
You know, those
Yeah.
soft, small movements,
Yeah.
because we know movement helps so much.
Totally.
You know, but even breathing, even
Mm.
there's different breathing for different nervous system states. You know, that when you're in fight flight and you're told to take a big deep breath in, but you're in fight flight, so you're in survival mode. You know, I can relate to you're being chased by a bear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're being chased by a bear, are you going to take that big deep breath?
Not in that
No,
moment. No. Yeah.
no, you're going to
No.
keep running.
Yep.
So even like in that fight flight state, we got to move our body and discharge that energy before we even take a breath
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to get rid
Okay.
of that energy.
Yep.
Able to take that big deep breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
A big deep breath doesn't feel safe when you're fighting for your life.
Yeah. Totally. Totally.
So
Yeah. So gotcha. So when in the fight or flight state, maybe some ways, one of the ways I'm hearing you say like the movement, like movement can be can kind of be a key piece to like introduce
yes,
into, right?
yes,
Showing up for the body, whatever. I mean, so you said like if feeling stuck, don't want to do anything this day, what's a small
yes,
a small little movement step that I could take?
right,
That
right.
and then dream world, right? Where we build upon the that whether it's toes
Because
and fingers one day.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I think that's when we're in that free state, we try and put such expectations on us.
Mm-hmm.
And that then we're back in that overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that overwhelmed state
Yeah.
where okay, today I need to do this, this, and this because I know I'm stuck in bed. I'm in this free state. I should be further along in my grieving.
Yeah.
No, just practice on one little thing, that
Yeah.
one little movement so you don't overwhelm yourself. Because when you overwhelm, guess what you do? You shut down.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's like that, just that one little goal for that day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to wash my hair today. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to take a shower today. I'm going to, spend 10 minutes outside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just
Mm-hmm.
these little movements that, and, and here's the thing. I think we all want we want these big things.
Totally.
The nervous system responds to the little things.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
those little things. I'll tell you, I do something I call BAM, right?
Okay.
Before I even get out of bed now.
Okay.
I was one who I would reach for my phone because what
Yep.
was I got to make sure nobody called. I got to make sure there's not an emergency,
Right.
right?
All right.
Trauma response,
Yeah.
total
Yeah. Yeah.
trauma,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
A
So
lot of
now
us are
I do
saying, yeah, me too. I got to check
it,
my
right?
phone first. Yeah.
Exactly. And that was my argument. My argument for everything used to be, well, what if there's an emergency?
Yeah.
What if there's an emergency? But I now know if there was an emergency and I'm just rolling out of bed because I don't know if you do this. Do you wake up and your heart's beating fast? You know, I wake up with a,
I don't know. I don't know. I maybe not. Not. But
that's great,
I'm not sleeping particularly well, so I'm pretty out of it when I'm waking up. I'm like getting some
right?
pretty choppy sleep, so I feel like
Right?
I'm just like, oh, I gotta go.
Yes.
Oh, Graham's awake. Okay, he's awake. Here we
Yes.
go. So,
So I realized, and when we sleep, that can fill up. And so I wake up and I'm like,
okay.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I grab my phone. So what if there was an emergency and I'm waking up? I wake up in a fight flight state,
Got it.
which is terrible. I'm working on it. But
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
this bam. So
Okay.
the first thing I do is I breathe
Yeah.
before even getting out of bed. I take my breaths
Mm-hmm.
and then I will anchor. I'll ground myself.
Okay.
So I will name 5 things I can see
Okay. Love it.
before I get out of bed. And then M, movement. I wiggle, I
Okay.
shake, I do things in bed before
Yeah.
I even put my feet on the ground, before I check my phone.
Yeah.
And I've added one more thing is I set an intention how I want to show up that day with one word. One
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Aaron, I can't tell you. Those little things are changing my days.
Amazing.
They're changing my days. It's these little things where I think we've wanted, we want the quotes that'll change our lives,
Totally.
right?
Totally.
How many quotes do you have saved on your phone?
Yeah. I got a lot of screenshots. I
Exactly.
got a lot of
Screenshots.
screenshots. Yeah.
And I gotta admit, my phone is full of screenshots. I don't ever go back and read them. I don't
Same,
ever
same,
go back and
same,
look at them.
same.
And so this is what I want to get away from is these little micro resets
Yeah,
that change your life. I have alarms on my phone.
yeah,
What state are you in right now?
yeah.
What are you feeling right now? Move,
Mm-hmm.
move.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah,
but I think
so move. Yeah, so the move piece, I hear you saying that's one key when it comes to
yes,
nervous system realignment or what I mean, I'm thinking
yeah,
about my own nervous system conversations, right? Where it's just like, um, so as feelings roll in, as thoughts and task lists and whatnot roll in, right? How do we as humans walk through that day, right? Walk through that day with breath, with gentleness, self-compassion, kindness toward others, or whatever, right? How do we?
right.
Because I think we would like we could all probably admit, like, yeah, I would love to love. I would love for love to just emanate from my being, right? I mean, if anybody, yeah, I mean, I prayers for anybody who's is not does not get excited about more love, breathe like
Right,
feeling more love
right.
and
Yes,
and calm, feeling more love and calm and being that for others, right? So movement is kind of a
hmm
key. I hear you saying movement's a key piece. Say more about the anchoring, maybe even take us into the sail
yeah,
story,
yeah,
that whole background of the of the
yes,
book, because I think that's such a powerful reminder. I'm
yes,
so excited to um as Graham, as he keeps growing,
yes,
and I mean he loves story time, so to
yes,
continue to help him to show up for the feelings when they roll in
right,
and then figure out what that next action step is. And
right.
I think I mean, that's why I'm so stoked to keep just keep getting to know you right now and sharing with
Yeah,
others, because for me, and we talked about this before, this is about slowing down and honoring our unique process,
yes,
right?
yes, yeah. Oh,
Like
absolutely.
that each of us are on a unique path
Yes,
and
yes,
healing in our own ways. And
yes,
so that's what this, I mean, anyway, so tell us a little bit
absolutely.
about I mean, you mentioned anchor in your
Yeah,
morning,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
grounding. Yeah.
So you mentioned, because how many times do you feel like a hypocrite? Like, I have to admit, I have road rage. So I
Okay.
am like peace,
Certain moments.
love.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love everybody.
yeah.
And then somebody cuts me off, and I am acting like a fool.
Right.
Like, I'm
I'm
saying
not. I'm
things
not a
that
fan of no following distance. I'll just say that. My wife,
yes,
Sarah definitely is like, um, she's been a calmer for me, because I definitely would be
right.
like, talk to people just in the car. I'm not, and kind of
Oh
in my
yes,
own
yes.
voice. I'm just like, dude, come on now, like
Right.
like snuggling me, like let's find another lane, sir. Find another lane, please. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah, keep
So you know
going.
what it goes down to? Guess
Yeah.
what it goes down to? When people drive like that, it doesn't make you feel safe.
Right.
It all leads back to that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
truly,
Yeah.
them tailgating you doesn't make
Yeah.
you feel safe. Now with Graham, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So of
Yeah. Even
course
more.
you're going to protect your
Right.
family. You're going
Right.
to protect your loved ones. So of course that flips us into a protective state, because you're like, you're getting too close. If I have to slam on my brakes, you're going to hit us.
Yeah.
And then what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For sure.
So the beautiful thing is, we know now we can rewire our brains.
Hmm.
Neuroplasticity shows us you are not stuck with your brain. You can rewire it. So when you talk about those, how do we show up then? We get triggered. Then what do we do now?
Hmm.
So I think a lot of it is preventative. It's those every time you're washing your hands, stimulate your vagus nerve,
Okay.
that the vagus nerve, and that's a whole nother thing, is that vagus nerve is our quickest way to calm our body.
Hmm.
And when you get good with it, you can almost feel, sometimes I even feel dizzy. I'm like,
Mm.
oh, this is a good feeling.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I can reach that calmness, and there's so many techniques to stimulate that. So when you're washing your hands, every time you wash your hands, hum.
Okay.
So you have all these things where, I got to be honest with you, I'm writing another book for
Yeah.
adults.
Yeah.
And it's not you, it's your nervous system.
Yeah.
My partner, my guy, he's more Bible based than me. I'm spiritual, I believe in God, but he's
Yeah.
more Bible based.
Yeah.
Well, I make fun of him because his little quirks,
Yeah.
like I'll see him doing certain things, and when he's doing these things, he prays.
Yeah.
And I used to tease him. I'd be like, "You're such a goofball," not
Uh-huh.
that I was
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
fun of
Yeah.
him praying,
Totally.
but he knew this before I knew it, and he knew
Yeah.
it instinctually that he sets him up for certain things. Every time he washes his hands, he prays.
Okay.
Every time he does certain things, he prays
Wow.
throughout the day. So
Wow.
those are
Yeah.
just his little. So I started taking that, and I'm like, okay, then we can do this with our nervous system resets. Praying works for him. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't do much more. He's a very regulated person.
Yeah.
So for me now what I like to do now is anytime I enter a different room,
Yep.
I just kind of shake. I just shake off so I'm not carrying whatever happened in that room to the
Yeah.
next.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's just those little anchoring tools. But I developed sail because um again, I was getting into it. I was studying this, and I was trying to think of a name for myself. We live by the beach.
Yeah.
My daughter was like, my nephew called me Aunt C because he
Okay.
couldn't say
Yeah.
Carolyn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then I went to get Aunt C, and that was used on social media. So we were playing around with it, and I was like, you know what? I love the ocean, the sea, Aunt C, SEA.
Love it.
So that became my name. So then I wanted to develop something ocean related. So SAIL stands for stop, anchor, investigate, lead.
Hmm.
Now, you can't always sail. You don't always have the time to do all four steps.
Okay.
And you can use them interchangeably. But that first one is stop. That's the pause. That's the pause that we all need. Because if we can interrupt that pause and we interrupt that response,
Yep.
we can pause.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all I need now. I just need that pause,
Yeah.
because I'm so used to going through the steps. I can pause, and then I go straight from that stop to lead. I can stop, and then I can say, how do I want to show up right now?
Yeah.
How do I want to show? What's the type of person I want to show up right now?
Yeah.
But if I have more time, what I've been doing is I'll stop. Somebody says something happens.
Yeah.
I stop, and then I anchor. So that's one of the breathing, grounding tools, because you cannot think when you have that amygdala hijack.
Mm-hmm.
The only goal of your amygdala is to keep you safe.
Yeah.
So whatever triggers you have, and they're going to be, like you said, individual journey. We all have different triggers.
Totally.
Whatever triggers you have got to anchor, and you've got to invite that prefrontal cortex back in online. Because if you are reacting from your amygdala, you are not going to make the wisest choice.
Okay.
You're not going to say the things you want to say. You're not going to show up how you want to show up.
Yeah.
So you anchor, and you get that prefrontal cortex back engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when your prefrontal cortex that's your thinking brain. That's your problem solving brain.
Okay.
That's where you're like, okay, now I can work through this. I can learn. I can show up how I want. The investigate, sometimes that's a little bit longer. That's when you're investigating more, like, why am I triggered by this?
Totally. Yeah. Where did this start, or what's yeah.
Yes. And again, it all goes back to our childhoods and feeling safe.
Yeah.
Or public embarrassment, like in Stanley, right? He missed the wave, the embarrassment. Now I'm not, and we're dealing with our ancient brain that kept us alive, right? Because back then, and this, I'm sorry, I know, I just get
You're
so
rocking
like,
it. You're rocking it. I'm loving this. Keep going. I'm pumped.
So our brains were meant to keep us alive back how many years ago, right?
Yeah.
Where we belonged to tribes because tribes kept us safe, right? If you were ostracized from a tribe, that probably meant death.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now when we're made fun of, when we mess up, now it's, am I loved? Am I valued? Am I enough? Am I still part of this family? Am I still part of this circle? So we got to investigate, and that's for deeper understanding. And it could be quick or fast.
Yeah.
With the characters in my book, it's kind of a fast thing. Well, let's investigate. Why did this make you feel a certain way? Oh, I'm embarrassed. Oh, I don't feel like I'm worthy. Oh, I feel like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once we understand that, then we can lead. And that lead is based on our values, our core beliefs, who we want to show up, our character.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it gets quick. It gets quick where you're just like,
Yeah.
sail. I mean, now my family will be like, did you sail?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
You know,
Yeah, totally. Because those states when you do get hijacked, right? When the nervous system does get hijacked or something triggers you. Whoo. I mean, you said you had
right.
a hard moment with your spouse the other day. I had a hard moment with my brother the other day. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I'm 44, he's 46, and
Yep.
I hung up on my brother. I've never hung up on my brother in my life, like, but I was
Yep.
so triggered
Yep.
in that moment and was not feeling safe.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm out,
Yep.
dude. I'm out.
Yep.
I could not believe I got like after I did it, I'm like, did I really? I just did that. I just hung up on my brother. This is not,
Yep.
and then right, and then but then I was able to like come back down, did a little
Great.
stopping, anchoring, investigating. He and I
Yes.
both chatted again. But it was really good for both of us to have that experience. Like we talked
Yes.
about it again yesterday, where it was just very humbling that relationships
Yes.
we're doing our best to be safe spaces for each other and figuring out what each of us need. Anyway, so
And I even look at hanging up because I come from a family, we hang up on each other.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
used to get so triggered by it. Like
Right,
my brothers and we'll probably fight until our 80s, 90s. I don't
right,
know. I mean,
right,
I'm
right,
hoping
right.
not. I have hope
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we
yeah.
change it, but we're hanger uppers. I even
Mhm.
look at that differently though,
Yeah,
because that was probably a good thing. And maybe people will disagree, but
yeah,
you hung up because you were overwhelmed. Your
yeah,
amygdala was hijacked. You
yeah,
hung up before you said anything you would regret.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
And
I'd
so
already said some
maybe,
things I regret, so I was like, I had said some and I'm like, well, I'm not going to
yeah,
say
yeah, yeah.
anything better. Nothing better's coming out.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's a protective mode. We go in. And so I know some people might be like, that was really disrespectful. But
Yeah.
when we can look at this and you'll start picking up on people's nervous system states. Like
Mhm.
now when I'm, walking down the street, I had a hard time, Aaron. I got so dysregulated and so COVID did a number on me that I didn't know.
Yeah.
COVID did a number because
Yeah.
it changed my life. I became a hermit.
Mhm.
I became
Yeah.
very a stay at home, which I never was. I love
Right.
nature. I love
Yeah.
being out in nature. I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest healing thing that we're missing. I know you
Hmm.
absolutely know that.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk down the boardwalk. If you've ever been to San Diego,
Yeah.
we have this beautiful boardwalk. People walk on the wrong side of the boardwalk. And then people walk 4 or 5 people deep. So I am dodging people. And
Yeah.
I was getting so bad. I can't tell you how many people I shoulder checked because I'm like,
Totally.
I'm not moving. I'm on the
Yeah.
right side.
Yeah.
Why do I have to for you?
Yeah.
All these things. Then now I'm looking at everybody's nervous system states because you can see it in their face.
Yeah.
You can see the people that are present, the people that are jamming, they're going to move.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody's in fight flight who doesn't move because sometimes you're just talking.
Yeah.
You're
True. True. True.
talking, you're talking, but I was taking it personally.
Totally.
I was thinking, how dare you disrespect me? And
Yeah.
that's how I used to take like getting hung up on. Like, how
Yeah.
dare you disrespect me?
Yeah.
Now I can see it. Wow, they're totally overwhelmed. They had to get off. Okay, let's
Hmm.
calm down. Let's both calm down and we'll meet
Hmm.
again.
Hmm. Totally.
But it's that, what? I love the 4 agreements, right? Take
Oh yeah.
nothing personal. Love it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
didn't ever understand it until I understood the nervous system states.
Hmm.
Because now, if you treated me a certain way, I am not going to take it personally because I know that you were in that fight flight state.
Yeah.
You weren't coming from who you are. You weren't coming from that calm, regulated state.
Hmm.
So I guess there's just, I understand it
Yeah.
so much clearly now when you look at
Yeah.
it and you can see it in people. I remember my first year as an intervention specialist.
Hmm.
I was working with this little girl, kindergartner,
Yeah.
and on the day she was good, you could, her face, she would be walking down the hallway. And then obviously on the days she was bad, I mean, she looked like a different kid.
Totally.
But yet we could see that. That's the minute when we saw her looking disheveled, her face drowned,
Yeah.
her face sagging, the frowning. That's when you go, okay, she is in she's not in her calm state. I
Yeah.
call it Turtle Bay now. So now I have the states Turtle Bay, Hurricane Harbor, and Foggy Waters.
Yeah.
Uh, so she's not in her Turtle Bay. So what we should have done during that time is worked with her, movement, right?
Yep.
Gone for a walk with her,
Mm-hmm.
you know, done the anchoring, done some things before even sending her back to class.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even
Mm-hmm.
need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to regulate her body first to where
Yep.
she felt calm.
Yep.
So you can see it. And that's what I think as parents, as teachers, when you see those body cues,
Mm-hmm.
that's our invitation to be like, okay, let's co-regulate. We need to
Mm-hmm.
co-regulate before we do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I know I'm jumping, but I always had coloring books when I was a guidance counselor. Coloring books, those kids start coloring. That's right. That's that movement. That's that
Total
you know,
anchor, right? That's the anchoring. Yeah.
that's the they
Yeah.
would start spewing when they were coloring. I
Yeah.
didn't even have to ask them to talk.
Right.
They automatically just started talking when they were coloring.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Because they felt, yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. Because for them, coloring represented a safe little
right.
container, right? Where they're like, oh, yeah,
Because if they
in their
can
body,
color,
they're moving. Yeah.
they're not fighting for their life.
Right.
And you can say, oh,
Right.
fight for their life over asking a question. Yes, because our nervous system does not know the difference between a tiger and a hard homework assignment.
Yeah.
We react the same way. And we all have the same nervous system, right? Our window of tolerance, and that's what we want to build, that
Mm-hmm.
window of tolerance, that where you want to spend more time in that calm state.
Mm-hmm.
But all these movements, all these anchors, all this breathing is helping us widen that.
Yeah.
So now if we can widen that, then when something does trigger us, we can remain in that window of tolerance longer
Mm-hmm.
rather than flipping to the shutdown or the fight flight.
Yeah. Phew. I love that. I love that. And I'm just flashed back to my math classroom when I was teaching math
Right?
and was working with kids who had like not passed the standardized test many times, two, three times.
Yes.
And they came into my class and I'll tell you, we did about 50% of the time we were doing math. 50% of the time we were just focusing on like safety, like on safety and
Yes.
and having a calm brain when we're around math because it was
Yep.
like they would make one mistake and then shut down for the
Yes.
rest of the exam. And it was like, no, 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 no,
Absolutely.
no. Like I don't know all the answers either. So like, so what? I
Yes.
didn't know what number seven was, but
Right.
I might know what number eight is. Let's see what,
Exactly.
anyway, but it was all about just um, bringing more of these like other strategies, right? Where
That's
other
exactly
grounding
it.
strategies versus
Yes.
you go into fight or flight or freeze and you're done. You turn in the test
Yes.
not having done anything.
You're just
So
filling in bubbles at that
totally,
point.
totally,
That's
totally.
exactly it. And that's what, as teachers, it's like from day one, you need to start your lessons. You
Right.
need to start
Boom,
teaching
boom,
day one.
boom. Yeah.
That's why I dream of owning my own school. And
Mm-hmm.
I would spend the first month on nervous system work,
Yeah.
you know, or
Yeah.
the first half of the day on
Yeah.
nervous system work,
Yeah. Yeah.
before any other work. And I
Yeah.
guarantee you that our scores would be better. I
Totally.
guarantee you,
Totally.
because you cannot think when your amygdala is hijacked,
Yeah. So
and
so tell me, I want to jump to this. Like,
yeah,
so the internet, for example, social media, right? Our ancestors would be lost, similar to the
yes,
way we all can sometimes get lost in the in the intensity, right? And so, especially when it's literally designed, like the algorithms are designed to
yes,
instigate, to rile up our nervous systems. I mean, it's
yes,
literally that's been written down. It is fact that
yep,
it is designed to rile us
yes,
up on the daily basis, right? I
absolutely,
it's if a friend of mine who I haven't seen anything forever opposes somebody that I see regular, like Facebook shows me that
yes,
to show me the opposite viewpoint in order to create this intensity of the right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong,
Yes.
right and wrong, and
Yes.
safety, right? I'm constant my
Right.
safety. And so how do you, so you mentioned you don't jump right on your phone. Like, um, any tips, strategies for folks with that? Because I think that it's literally designed to stress us out. It's
Yes.
literally designed to make us feel unsafe. Because if we feel unsafe and if we feel mad at our neighbor or worried about the other
Yeah.
guy or the other person, then things get passed up at the higher ups. Like things just keep getting passed that we don't necessarily want, but like they can kind of just do whatever they want to do, right?
Absolutely.
In my
Right.
opinion, this is how I'm observing it. So,
Yeah.
how are you? I mean, what a perfect time and an important time for your work to be
Yeah.
continuing to get out there for us, because I think it's needed even more so now when we do
Absolutely.
have these extra appendages attached to our hand. That's
Yes.
right. That's literally an instigator. It's like,
Absolutely.
wait, that we think this is beautiful, this is this fun little hangout spot where we find
Right.
community, but it's actually kind of an instigator
Uh,
and
uh,
throws us into this freeze or fight or flight zones. Anyway,
yes.
so
I
how are
spent
you?
Sunday in fight or flight. I spent Sunday in
Yeah,
fight or
honest.
flight because of social media.
Yeah,
Like
honest.
I
Yeah,
finally was like, why aren't you practicing what you preach? Get off this thing.
yeah,
Get
yeah,
off.
yeah,
But I think we feel like, what am I missing out? I have to be informed. And what
yeah,
if I'm missing out?
yeah.
And what if they pass a law? But when
Right.
I'm not on my phone and I don't know about it and my rights are,
Totally.
you know,
Totally. Yeah,
so we we were not meant to know what is happening every day 3,000 miles away.
yeah.
We are not meant as humans to take on this amount of information. I
Hmm.
mean, what, 2 weeks ago, if you were on social media, you may have seen two people lose their lives.
Right.
Two people
Yeah,
being passed on.
yeah,
We were watching it, right?
yeah, yeah,
Not meant to see this. And
yeah,
then we scroll and then we see a cute dog video. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's like, so this is what I'm trying to preach. And it's hard. And I have to admit, I'm scared every time I post it
yeah,
because the other day I was called a name and I've never been called a name yet.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I shared it. I made a post about this person calling me a name. That's
yeah.
not really how I want to show up.
Okay.
Um, this
Yeah,
person called me retarded, and that's a trigger word for me. I have
yeah.
a friend whose son is autistic,
Hmm.
and that it's always been a trigger word for me. But
Yeah.
ever since, I mean, and he's 26 now, he's nonverbal.
Hmm.
So I have spent 26 years being aware of autism and
Yeah,
seeing, what's happening. So this person called me retarded. That sent me into fight flight. And I was
yeah,
like, and it was a business here in San Diego. And I
yeah,
shared it like, if you want to support this person,
yeah.
not really how I want to show up.
Okay. Yeah. Real. We're
I
figuring it out one day. Yeah,
did.
exactly.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I think where I am really trying to push this is that social media has a lot of viewpoints that I don't agree with, people that I don't agree with. I still have a lot of friends who we have not unfriended each other on social media because I'm still seeking to understand.
Yeah.
I My nervous system is absolutely triggered by their posts.
Hmm.
However, if I'm going to fight for that from my viewpoints, then I have to understand that my viewpoint is triggering them
Yeah.
in the same space.
Yeah.
Now, I've had I get a little bit more daring on TikTok.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
with
yeah. Yeah.
it's funny, just the different platforms, right? Where
Totally.
you feel
Totally.
safer.
Yep.
Um, I and it probably goes back to my fear of, like, even though some of my friends don't agree with what I agree with, I'm not ready to lose them.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
ready to
Real.
write them off. I still want to see the good.
Hmm.
But some people I posted, like, when you take, like, we're going to go politically, the
Hmm.
right loves tradition, right?
Hmm.
Security, their tradition, their values. So someone from the left coming in saying, no, we want to change this, change this, change this,
Yeah.
that is threatening their sense of security and safety.
All right.
Same for the left. The left is saying, this is what I value. This is what, means to me, that these are the most important things. So of
Totally.
course, when the right comes in and says, no, tradition, tradition,
Yeah.
now the left isn't feeling safe. Now, people have come at me and said, well, how can you argue when people are against equal rights?
Hmm.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying anything's right or wrong.
Hmm.
I'm saying that we are never going to solve this when we have our nervous systems are in fight flight.
Totally.
Aren't going to solve
Amped,
anything.
just amped.
It's going to get uglier and uglier,
Right.
meaner and meaner.
Right.
I may not like your viewpoint,
Yeah.
but we are not going to solve anything by us both being hijacked.
Right.
So we have all, as a world, have to learn how to find calm.
Yeah.
And Aaron, I'm going to say, I've been doing more research. That's a privilege. That's a
Yeah.
privilege to find calm.
Yeah.
You
For
take
sure.
people
I'm with you.
living in dangerous situations, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, how did they feel calm?
Totally.
There are there are pieces where you can find that calm.
Hmm.
Hopefully in the bathroom.
Hmm.
That's where
Hmm.
you're working on strengthening that window of tolerance by calming your body.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
tough
I hear
out
you
there.
say, yeah. The clarity is, if we don't find a way to really, to really dive in, like each of us individually,
Yes.
to own up to, like, hey,
Yes.
I see the trigger happening, right? And then
Mhm.
how do we have conversations with the
Right.
other, or
Right.
them, or whatever, right?
Yes.
It's really easy to just dehumanize and not talk.
Yes.
And that's really what they're trying to,
Yes.
that's what the powers that be, the Facebook
Yes.
algorithms, are trying to, like,
Yes.
make us so angry that we can't have
Right.
a grounded conversation, right? Like a
It's
safe
that's
conversation.
I posted on TikTok about I had seen a post and I wish I could give credit. I don't know where I saw it, but I
Yeah.
had read this post and this woman said that women were asked if you woke up tomorrow and there were no men,
Yeah.
what would you do? And I thought it was going to be a funny post. I thought people were going to say I'd throw away my bras, I wouldn't wear makeup, I
Yeah.
wouldn't
Yeah. Yeah.
get Botox.
Right.
I was shocked. It was all about safety. I would go running at night. I'd wear headphones while I ran. I'd sleep with my windows open. I couldn't get this out of my mind. And that's why I
Yeah.
can't cite the original poster
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a scroll, but I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I posted on social media, on TikTok. I think I
Yeah.
posted on my other stuff too, but I went to social media and guess what? That was controversial. I got more followers. I've got more engagement. People are reposting it because it's controversial. Controversial.
Wow.
That's what feeds the algorithm.
Right. Right. Right.
So now then I go back to posting my tips, my 30-second micro
Oh, yeah.
resets,
Yeah. Yeah.
no engagement. I
Right.
get some likes, I get some saves,
Yeah.
no engagement.
Yeah.
So then I tell myself, who I'm trying to build my business,
Yeah.
I got to post something controversial,
Right.
right? To
Right.
find my to find my followers, to find my
Totally.
like,
Find the tribe. Find the tribe. Yeah.
and find my right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly.
I
Totally.
have to tell myself, okay, how do I want to show up?
Hmm.
How do I want to, because some of those comments, from men were triggering,
Yeah.
dismissing how women feel. And I could see the pain and the hurt in these women's responses.
Yeah.
And everybody and men were coming on saying, well, we feel the same way.
Hmm.
And it's like, when can we learn to I activated you. I
Hmm.
activated you by what I said. Now you're defending instead of just saying, how can we solve this? How can we
Yeah.
make a world safe?
Right.
Then it's, well, we feel the same way. Well, it's
Yeah.
not all men. I'm not saying all men.
Right. 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 Right.
Somebody said, oh, your dad must have abandoned you. No, my dad and I have a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
relationship and he
Yeah.
understands this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's
Huh.
it's very, very difficult. So what I've been trying to do is doing my practices before I open my phone at
Yeah.
any time throughout the day.
Yeah.
I'm trying my breathing. I'm trying and now, it comes second nature. It's like, I am very triggered. I am
Yeah.
very triggered and I'm responding from a fight flight. I'm responding from a state that's not going to help the situation.
Hmm.
And I got to be honest with you, Aaron. Sometimes I say, you know what? I still want to respond like this.
Yeah. 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 Which, I
You know,
mean,
I,
is part of your process, and a part of, you being real about what you're feeling in that moment, like, really can help somebody else, like, feel safe, right? At the end, I mean, at the end of
Yeah,
the day,
right,
these
right.
raw feelings are so real,
Yes. And I
and
want
it's
to feel
okay.
angry sometimes. I think
Yeah,
that's where the thing is
heck
like,
yeah,
don't feel
heck
it, don't feel it, don't feel it. And I'm like,
yeah. I
this is
know.
like when you were grieving, you needed to feel
Right,
sadness.
right, right.
You needed to. Why are we
Totally.
rushing it away? Now
Yeah,
I can say, well, Carolyn, you could feel anger but not have to respond. Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. I can still feel anger and not respond. But there's certain moments where no, I want to respond. I'm working on my responses being better, but
yeah,
I want to feel angry because this doesn't sit right with me.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, and I think that's also part of the honoring, yeah, like as you're focusing on is and inviting people into is just honest conversations with our own emotions and thoughts that roll through. That it's not,
And
it does
repair, right? The
versus like a
yes.
push it
Yes.
aside, have another drink, have four gummies,
Right.
no, whatever, like,
Yes.
or,
Yes. Yes.
or just avoid, 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 watch another Netflix show, avoid, avoid, avoid. I think what you, yeah,
Right.
so I think there is that fine line, right? Of
Yes.
occasionally you are going to share from one of the more raw emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's important because that's also what that's also I hear you sharing that
Absolutely.
that's what you're inviting us into.
Yes.
And also that's a dance because you don't have control over how other people will react and
Right.
respond to the emotions,
Yes.
the raw emotion, which,
Yes.
and those can be more, the reactions can be more volatile, and
Absolutely. And that's
so
why
yeah,
in
I hear you.
repair, right?
Yeah,
I'm working on another book, the sale method, to really go into it.
yeah,
And that's I talk a lot about the repair piece,
yeah,
right? We're going to mess up as humans.
yeah.
We are. And who wants to be perfect anyway? I mean,
Right.
that's not the goal. The goal
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not to
yeah.
be perfect,
No.
it's to
Yeah.
make progress. And
Yep.
the repair, especially with our children, the repair to come back and say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that goes into another whole thing. We've got to model it. It's like teachers, parents, adults, we have to model this behavior. That's why when I started working with kids, and now I'm like, no, a parent has to be with you
Hmm.
because I can't just teach the kid now.
Yeah.
A
Real.
parent has to know this
Yes.
because
Good.
it's going to fall flat. And now that I'm
Love
working
that.
with parents too, oh my God, we're seeing amazing growth. And parents are going, oh my gosh, this explains everything. Or, oh my gosh, yes, I am absolutely, you know,
Carolyn, that is so huge. I'm
mm,
so glad you're doing that. I mean, because as you
yes,
said that, I'm like, I literally didn't want to include parents in my teaching journey because I was
yeah,
like, no, dude, you had
yes,
15 years, you had 12, you
yes,
had 14 years, you had 18 years with this kid.
yes,
Let me hold it
yeah,
down. You
yep.
you did enough
They,
or whatever. But
they,
I love that yes, because right, we
yes.
all need to know these things.
So you know what I started noticing? I was working with a kid, and
Yeah.
my friend she's my dear friend who trusted me.
Yeah.
She's my first client.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Trusted me with this. I mean, it was it was a beautiful thing, and I thank her so much for trusting me with this because wow, when you're dealing with people's mental health,
Yeah.
I the last thing I want to do is re-traumatize or re-hurt anybody.
Totally.
So I was working with her daughter, and her daughter is amazing. Her daughter is a swimmer. She started having panic attacks in the pool.
Yeah.
And I'm not some genius, but after one session, she hasn't had a panic attack since.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So we started working, right? And that's firing me up. And we're
Oh
this
yeah.
this little girl and I were going. Well, then I noticed she was taking on the responsibility of regulating her parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, oh no,
Right.
this and my friend saw it too. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Where
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and we both messed up enough that we feel safe around each other,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to
For
be
sure.
vulnerable. It's
Yep.
like she knows I'm not judging her because I've made my mistakes.
Yeah.
So now I started noticing I was putting the pressure on the kid to regulate the parent.
Yeah.
And that's again not because that's me, the people pleasing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I took on the role in my family of if I'm making everybody happy and I started being very hyper vigilant, I could tell somebody, right? I'm talking about the
Yep.
body language.
Yep. Yep.
Until somebody in my family shifty eyes. I can tell their breathing's getting short. So then that was my job. I went in, make a joke, be the go between, try and make excuses for everybody, trying to control everybody's mood so a fight wouldn't blow up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
totally neglecting everything that would help me. I
Hmm.
ended up destroying myself.
Hmm.
So now that I'm working with a mom and her, oh, it's just wonderful. It's
Wow,
been amazing.
that's so great. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, keep going
yes.
on that. So tell me a little bit more about, for those people who are listening, who are like, dude, I want to work with Carolyn. I want to know more. I want to dive in a little deeper on this. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about what you are offering at present, in addition to the
Yeah.
books that you have out and the yeah.
Yeah. So I am working with kids,
Okay.
adults. I started it, um, a few months ago. I just threw it out there because I come from, the teaching background. And
Yeah.
then I actually left Peoria because Peoria decided years ago, I was an intervention specialist.
Yeah.
They decided to cut intervention specialists.
Yeah.
And then they made a choice that they were only going to have social workers, not
Okay.
intervention specialists. And again, the social worker would have 3 or 4 schools. And you know me, I love the Title I schools. That's my
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know how many years I didn't take a lunch.
Yeah. Just
And
yeah, just
that was my
kids.
own fault.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
my own fault. But I started inviting kids to have lunch with me, and
Yeah.
that was great too. But it still didn't give me, I should have taken that time to regulate
Right.
myself. So Peoria comes down and says, we're getting rid of, and you can only be a social worker to reapply. I wasn't a social worker. And I was so angry because I thought I was a teacher and an intervention specialist, and you don't want me.
Right.
Like, I
In
understand the
that
teacher.
role. Come on now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I left teaching and I was like, eh. So I went, Aaron, I learned how to groom dogs, and I was
Okay.
a dog groomer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I made more money. It was
Yep.
crazy,
Right.
crazy. People
I'm
give you a
sure.
tip, and you're like, a tip coming from a teacher's salary. Like, I
Totally.
was like,
Totally.
but again, my heart always leads me back to education. So I went back, I started working for Maricopa County, and we were working with kids who had issues with truancy,
Hmm.
and we were trying to get them back in school. We were trying to work with the schools. Then they had, Maricopa County was offering free professional development to anybody who wanted us about trauma.
Okay.
And so I applied, so many people, but I am so blessed from the people who have given me and saw and given me an opportunity, even when I might not have been qualified on paper.
Yeah.
They saw something in me
Yeah.
that maybe I didn't even see in myself. I just knew
Yeah.
I wanted to. So we started training anybody, teachers, social workers, anybody on trauma. And
Hmm.
suddenly I was giving speeches to, hundreds of people.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's funny when you look at everything that has led up to now. So
Yeah.
a few months ago, I was going back to Arizona and I just threw it out there. If any school wants a free PD,
Hmm.
I will come. I
Coming.
will,
Yeah.
and somebody took me up on it.
Hmm.
And I was back in the Chandler School District working
Sweet.
where in that district that I had been a behavior specialist for a year.
Hmm.
And it was amazing. So I am offering so much
Yeah.
because this works. So I can work with individuals, adults, schools. I want to work with companies.
Yep.
I want to work, and so I have a website, Antsy Sales,
Yep.
and I want to get into behavior advocacy. I would love to work with, if your kid is getting in trouble at school and you're
Hmm.
facing suspensions or expulsion, I would
Hmm.
love to come work with you in the schools.
Hmm.
I truly believe I can help.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
never felt comfortable saying that because I feel like that's my ego.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't want to be ego driven.
Yeah.
But this is what I like to say. I haven't invented any of this,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Georges, Segal, Bessel, the body keeps a score,
Yep.
Bruce Perry, all of them, this is their work. I'm
Yep.
just translating it because I'm not the smartest, tool in the tool shed, but
Hmm.
I have found a way to translate that neuroscience where it's
Yep.
understandable for
Totally. Yes.
all. So
So good. So good. Yeah, I'm stoked to see who will come through
yeah,
and get to dive in deeper with you. I mean, I was telling my wife this morning, I'm like, hey, dude, she does some couple stuff too. I was like, anyway, just
yes,
because
yes,
because this morning I said something passive and then she gave me a nice
Yep.
little passive comment back and I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, sorry about that. And she's like, I'm
Yep.
sorry about that too. Like
Yep.
but, but forever on the journey, right?
Yep.
I just told my brother the other day after, like, before hanging up on him, I was like, that I need therapy, that I'm like, I need to talk to somebody,
Yep.
just to continue to like sort through
Right.
these next steps, the next 5 years, like, and so, shoot,
Yep.
I might be texting you to
Right.
set
Right.
up just some sessions with me because I
Yes.
need to sort through some of those things. Um,
Yep. And
as,
Aaron, it makes perfect
yeah,
sense. Like
yeah,
everything you're doing makes perfect sense
yeah,
because somewhere along the way you picked up on this.
yeah.
And it's even, sometimes I love my parents. I love my parents. I'm very
Mhm.
close to them. So I
Yeah,
do feel guilty in this. Some stuff has come up when writing this book that I was
yeah,
like, I learned this from my mom. My
yeah,
mom
yeah,
loves her family so much. She lives in fear,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I grew up living in fear. I parented in fear. What if something happens to my daughter? I won't
yeah.
survive. If something happens to my daughter, I can't go on.
Hmm.
I won't survive it.
Hmm.
That's what I've told myself.
Yep.
So even even if we had the greatest childhoods, we still as a child pick up on survival techniques that
Hmm.
now are showing up in our adulthood. And there's nothing wrong with it. It kept us safe.
Totally.
It's a beautiful thing. We
Totally.
have to keep
They did
looking
the
at it.
best they knew how. They were right. I mean,
Yes.
they
And they
got their
learned it from their
downloads.
parents who
Exactly.
learned it from their parents. And that's this generational trauma, right?
For sure. For sure.
And it's I want to end on one more thing really quick.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't
yeah,
want
yeah. No,
it,
I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed. We're good. Yeah.
the trauma, it gets stored in our body. That's that intergenerational stuff. So let me end with this. Memories have a beginning, middle, and an end.
Mhm.
Trauma doesn't have an end. So that's why it keeps showing up. It keeps showing up. We want to solve it. We want to control it. If we just are better prepared, if we understand why this person did this,
Mhm.
we're looking for that completion of that trauma cycle,
Mhm.
of that story,
Mhm.
because since it doesn't have an ending, it's still alive in our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the movement piece too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, when you said that, that makes me think about, like, they say that most of us have cancer cells in our bodies,
Yes.
and depending how we live, what we feed our bodies, what we feed our minds, what we feed the whole being, right?
Yes.
Those cells can either hang out
Right.
peacefully in our bodies,
Right.
or they start to create a community
Yes.
and expand and grow.
Yes.
Um, so trauma. I mean, that's a trip. That's a trip. I
It,
mean, I did like during this retreat over the weekend. My sister took us through this aroma freedom technique, and it got me into
uh-huh.
some like deep childhood stuff
Yep.
that I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Which is that, and how to, I guess for me, what I hear you saying is like learning the strategies
Hmm.
that allow us to show up when that trauma surfaces. Is
Yes.
that what I hear? I mean, that like at the end
Yes.
of the day, like I can't, it's not like I can go in and erase what happened at 4 years old,
Right. Right.
right? Or just delete it.
Right.
I can have a
Yes.
new perspective on it,
Right.
right? I can
Right.
have a new outlook on it,
Yes.
breathe with it differently. Maybe I breathe,
Yes.
maybe in my 20s, I was breathing, hyperventilating when I was thinking about that experience or whatever, right? But then how,
It thinks
anyway,
it's happening again. It
yeah,
thinks it's happening again. Our body
totally,
reacts like it's happening again. And
totally.
so I think increasing that window of tolerance, but also knowing like the phone is a huge trigger. When somebody calls and I'm not expecting their call,
Yeah,
it sends me into a tizzy. Now I see it calling. Before
yeah,
I even answer, I try and anchor really quick.
yeah,
And that's when I'm in my calm state. I can tell myself, this isn't 15 years ago when you got that call.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We are in
yeah,
the
yeah,
present.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And this is what brings us into that present, right? We always talk about being in the present. Well, how do you get in the present? Just by your thoughts. We've been trying to control it with our thoughts.
yeah,
Don't think about the future. Don't think about the past.
yeah,
Don't,
yeah,
you got
yeah,
to present,
yeah.
present, present.
Right.
you
Right.
know, and it's more than that. It's making our bodies feel present and safe.
Yeah.
And that's with that, the anchoring, the breathing, the movement.
Totally.
It doesn't come from it
Huge,
can come from
huge,
thoughts. Yeah. Oops.
huge, right? Huge.
Yeah.
The rituals
Right.
that will anchor us, that
Yes.
will ground us. Because yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And the words
That
can
is,
flow then. So I'll breathe. You know,
yeah,
I shake all the time. If you ever
yeah,
see me and I'm just shaking,
yeah,
you know, I'll shake. And then I can tell
yeah,
myself, whatever's happening on the other end on the phone right now, you are strong. You have the tools now.
yeah,
You can handle it.
yeah,
But that doesn't sink when I just say, okay, you can handle it. You can handle it. You know,
yeah,
I have got to make my body feel it because my
yeah,
words aren't landing.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
why affirmations don't land, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because if your body's not feeling,
Without a body that's, yeah, without a body
yes,
feeling safe, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah. Then it's just like, yeah, for sure.
yes.
Oh, dude, so good. So
I
good,
know.
Carolyn. I'm so grateful. I'm so
I am
grateful.
too. I
Yeah.
am so
So I'll do a quick close and
yeah,
then have
yeah,
you also. Yeah. So just gratitude.
yep,
This is episode 51. Just gratitude to be here with you, Carolyn, and those of you who've listened either on YouTube or podcast. Um, yeah, that we can all breathe in as
yep,
as we're closing, or find whatever anchoring technique
right.
um, can support your grounding, your feeling safe in this moment. Um, boy, I pray and hope that that's possible for every one of you that's listening, and that yeah, just know what I hear Carolyn saying today is she's in our corner. She's in our corner and is a support system that if we're feeling like we need some extra guidance, some additional just support, safe support, um, yeah, that maybe we'll choose to connect after the fact. And I'll definitely have all of Carolyn's information in the podcast info and also in the YouTube description. So please, yeah, connect, reach out to her. And yeah, this to me, this is the evolutionary work that you're inviting us into, to me, is critical, especially at this time with such incredible stimulation coming at us. And yes, we have choices with
Mm-hmm.
how much we choose to stimulate ourselves. And so continuing to pay attention, continuing to honor, like, yeah, I'm not in the space right now to get on Facebook, right? Not today. Not today. I need a couple day break or I need a month off. Um, my wife just uh, snoozed her Facebook for the time being because
Yep,
it was too volatile. So
yep,
continuing to listen to our own selves and what it is we're needing, how we can create spaces for ourselves to ground, to anchor, and then to
yep,
investigate and take that time, right? I mean, I think that's what because when we feel safe, right, this is when we can get in there and like find new ideas, get
yes,
creative, right?
yes,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yep,
I could connect Carolyn to this person.
yeah,
Oh, oh yes, that I just, like, and just being able to have that when we're grounded, we're able to see these connections more, right? We're able
right.
to be actually take action.
And have an understanding
Yeah,
of others, you know, too.
totally,
It's
totally.
you'll
Yeah,
never see it
take the
the
mic. Yeah, yeah.
same. Sorry, I could go on and
No,
on.
please.
You,
Yeah, no, but
once you get into this, you'll never see anybody's behavior the same again.
yeah,
Never.
yeah,
You look at behavior completely different.
yeah,
And I'm not saying to excuse behavior. That's not what we're doing.
for sure.
It's the understanding of it. It's
Yeah,
it's it's biology, and
yeah,
it's this makes all the sense in the world.
yeah. Our body is doing its darndest to keep us safe,
Yes.
to help us feel
Yep.
safe.
Yep.
And then when things are happening in and around us,
Yep.
that are throwing us off. We got to, yeah, continue to look for strategies, find strategies, and that's what you're bringing, which is so important. So definitely, if you're not already following Carolyn on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I haven't been on TikTok in a while, so but
Yeah.
I'm stoked
I
you're
think
on there.
I've
I'm
been
stoked you're
changing
over
it.
there sharing as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The nervous system teacher. I think that's why I'm
yeah.
over there.
Oh,
Nervous
okay,
system there. Yeah.
awesome. I need to let Sarah know because she loves being on, like, TikTok's one of her hangout
Same.
spots. Yeah, yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
Well, thank you to any of you who joined today. If it's your first time, thanks for joining us here at the Our Healing Voices podcast and YouTube channel. Carolyn, thanks for taking time. Thanks for dropping us in. Yeah, just thanks for doing what you're doing. Yeah, thanks for doing what you're doing. So happy that that you're here and you're present for the people that you're working with, and you were able to offer your voice today and your ideas, and that you're putting incredible information out for those of us who want to dive in deeper, who want to help our children find, learn the wisdom early,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Yes.
learn the
Yes.
wisdom early
It's the biggest
to
gift.
show up for the feelings and breathe
Yes.
and find our way through them
Yes.
versus
Yes. Yes.
suppressing or running from them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, big love to everybody and big love to you, Carolyn. Thanks so much.
You too. Thank you.